professionals specifically that come together to strengthen their advantage, a career advantage. And how do we do this? We have an AI-powered platform called Javelin. And this platform is where we connect professionals to personalized career opportunities such as jobs, mentorship, events, and content based on their career goals. You are able to upload your CV. Very shortly, I will share a QR code. If you are able to just go on there and register yourself, that would be lovely. In Europe specifically, it's always important that we remain attractive and we're able to engage with other Black talent. And this is the reason why we have BYP established in Budapest. We have BYP in many countries. We have in Beijing, we have in UK. In UK, we have in different cities. In the US, we have it in different cities as well. In South Africa, we have in Cape Town. In Nigeria, we have in Lagos, and so many other location. So we are happy to have you on board as well. A little bit about our founder. Our founder, her name is Kike Oniwide-Agoro. She is Nigerian, but British Nigerian. She is the person that binds all of us together. She is an amazing lady. I'm not going to read everything that I have on my screen, but I just have this here in case I have people that love to screenshot and find out about people. Feel free to take a screen grab to see. But there's so many things that she has achieved and she is also a javelin thrower, which explains our platform called Javelin. She's professionally a javelin thrower. She has gone on to represent Britain, and she has done a lot to the contribution of the Black young professionals, not only in the UK, but all around the world. And because of this, she has gotten a lot of international and local awards, including the famous Forbes 30 Under 30. All right, moving on. How do BYP operate? In every community that where BYP exists, we like to do 4 things. First is to creating events, networking events that bring together Black young professionals to join our community. Second, how do we do this? We like to convene. We like to host physical events around 3 pillars: professional, developmental, and personal/social development as well. And third, we like to connect to our community member. We like to find new friends. We like to chit chat. We'd like to connect to those who can mentor us or push us forward professionally. And last but not the least, we also do that through our mentorship program. So we are aware that in our community, some people have advanced in their career, and while some people are just starting out. And because of this, it's always good to have counsel. And this is why we do it. Now, in BYP Budapest, how are we bridging the gap? We are doing this through networking. In the course of today's session, you will hear a lot about networking. And I'm sure that everybody here values networking. That's why you're here, because it is popularly said that your network is your net worth. And you're going to hear conversations around coaching. And we are also bridging the gap through partnership with recruiter. We actually have one of the speakers who is a recruiter. And we also have quite a number of recruiters that we work with, not just in Budapest, but in Europe in general and in all the countries where we are present. And last but not the least, we are also bridging the gap through knowledge sharing and storytelling. This is the way we are bridging the gap. Our platforms, as I mentioned, we have Javelin. Javelin, you can think about Javelin like our own internal LinkedIn. On here, you can really customize your CV. You can upload it on there, and we can match you. And some of the opportunities that we have on Javelin are not just restricted to your particular location right now. If you are interested in relocating, you might be able to find opportunities that also provides relocation and fantastic things like this. And also we have our website, and on the website you can see all sorts. We see our events, you see achievements, you see all sorts of news on there as well. I'm just going to ask that if you can, please scan the QR code and join us, register on Javelin, go on our website. First, I will introduce quickly the first two speakers. We're going to go into the panel discussion bit, which is the first session. And I'm going to quickly introduce our speaker. These people are people that I greatly admire. I have watched them up close. I've seen how their career has progressed. I've seen life throw them huge, massive curveballs, and I've seen them come out on the top, and that's why they are here. They probably will have one or two things to share with you. First, I would like to introduce Paulina. Paulina is a finance professional. For those that like to take a screenshot, you can take a screenshot of this as well. She is seasoned. She's been working in over 7 years, I would say, in the finance sector, and she's also a co-founder of a learning and development consult. And here she's helping undergraduates to prepare for the job market. She is working with not just undergraduates, but she's working with young professionals as well, helping you to map out the best opportunities for you, plan out your career. She really gets hands-on with you. So if you are interested, you can connect with Paulina on LinkedIn, and she can share all about what she does. And we have Jonah. Jonah recently relocated to Canada, but is still very much in Budapest as well. Jonah is a seasoned IT expert, and he has vast experience in IT infrastructure systems and networking. And he also is a startup co-founder and the chief technical officer of Duna IT Technologia. Duna IT is present in the US and in Hungary, and now probably in Canada very soon as well. His title doesn't even do justice to many things that Jonah has accomplished in his career. And they are here today to share with us their story and how they've been able to navigate transition and how they were able to still keep a career even with life and market transition. All right. So Jonah and Paulina, welcome. I do have a few questions, and I know that people are itching to hear those questions, as I am waiting as well to hear your answer. So my first question will be to both of you. Of course, Paulina, if you would like to take the lead on this, that is also perfect. Can you share with us what your career journey has been? What are the highlights? What are the lowlights? And what has led you to this particular point in your career?
Oh, well, that's interesting. With the way you package the whole introduction about me. Is that me? Yeah, but it's been a journey. Like you said, you've seen me go through the highs and the lows. I started my career in Exxon, where I worked for a while. So for me, I think that my experience has all been in finance. I've met people where they probably started with a science background, ended up in finance. But for me, I started, in Exxon as a controllers analyst, and journeying through it, I started like everyone else, entry level, and then rose to the ranks. And then after that, with some time, I wanted new experiences. I wanted challenges. So I joined Citibank. I joined as a financial reporting analyst, business analyst, and also currently I am in the treasury team as an AVP.
Fantastic. And Jonah, do you want to introduce yourself? I will still come back to my question, but let Jonah introduce himself as well.
All right, thank you so much, Tito. It's a pleasure to be here with the BYP community. I should be having like around 11 or 13 years of experience, according to the standards. It's funny that I have only 9. Yeah, my career started in 2013, immediately after I finished my degree in information technology. But my career started from the streets. So, I mean, there was no assignment on the streets. So I now, because of unemployment, I looked around what I would do, and I started with a small startup, which was more of a computer repair, lab or shop or store. And I wouldn't say this failed, but I would say I learned from it. And then later on in 2016, I joined an internship in India that was in IT support. And now that kickstarted my professional career in IT. And I've worked in IT support since then. I transitioned to AV support, which is still a bit of IT, but it is more specific with audio and visual. And that has been since 2022, which actually also marks the birth of Duna IT. Both Duna IT Technology are kept in Hungary and Duna IT Incorporation that is in the US. So apart from IT support, I've diverted a bit and come to AV support, which is more of dealing with audio, dealing with video for every spectrum. That is, if it's a meeting room, if it's a home, if it's a school. And so my career journey has been shaped in a sense of passion and trying to solve problems that I would experience in life, and also looking around the people that I live with and the challenges they face, day in, day out. I'll just still go into your question. What lessons have been there, and what highlights and lessons have been there in my career? The first highlight has been 2+ years of being unemployed, but trying to look out for something. And coming from Uganda, unemployment is very, very, very high, because when we start school, we expect to graduate, get a job, and start working. But this does not really work out. You get to learn this from the street. We call it the street because that is where you actually face the reality. As you're looking at your parents for support, and the parents are also looking at you, whether there's anything good that is going to come out of you. So from this time, you start to look at the things you missed out in class. That is now where a new education starts from. Now, this education may not necessarily carry certificates. This is an education where you're now going to expose your people to different different people in the networks that are really, really going to help. And in there, you're going to be helped. I remember my first exposure to professional work was through an organization called ISEC. And this was through a person who I knew, who we had studied with. So now getting back to them, of course, he told me he was hearing stories like, oh, I started a business. That puts you somewhere like at the top. People think you're good. But me exposing myself to him and letting him know was such a game changer. He was like, I think, yeah, it's not going to work that way. You need to get the skills. You need to, to build yourself up. You need, because things like customer care, things like time management itself, in the real work world, I didn't have the things at the time. All I had was passion and love for the money that my passion is going to get me. But there are a lot of skills, people's skills, managing clients, and these kind of skills, I did not get those skills in the business that I was working, but they were needed. So my network kind of helped me to transition into the professional world, where I got the skills that I could now boast about right now and say that actually the skills that I have developed in the past like 5 years in a professional network have helped me in the 3 years that I've been in self-employment. Yeah, so one thing I would say is expose yourself to learning, expose yourself to the career. To me, those have been the lessons that I've really, really learned through my journey. Yeah.
Thank you. So my second question is going to be like a 2-in-1. Since you both you run businesses and you still have a 9-to-5, and they are not, it's not a side also, as we say. These are both things that you put both equal amount of effort into. Can you share with us what moments of transition you've gone through? It could be life transition, it could be market transition, it could be even any kind of transition. How were you able to maneuver that the process of transitioning, and how were you able to keep your career and your business afloat?
Okay, so I'm going to go. I think that's yeah, so I would touch a bit on the highlights and lowlights, and then speak a little bit about the transition. Jonah spoke about, you know, how he started from India and then a bit. So then for me, I would speak about my highlight. I think for me, when I got here, I also was privileged to come through ISEC. And when I got here, I was working in a company called ACO as a finance graduate intern. And so I was supporting the accounts payable team, and there I had to work with like other students here, Hungarians, people that had traveled here from Erasmus, and looking at the fact that they could do things like, you know, use SAP, Excel, and then I asked them, how did you do this? Like, you know, all the things that we use for finance. And they're like, oh yeah, because we're able to intern, you know, during school. This is my third internship. I was like, wow, okay. So I didn't get the chance to learn this. And then my mind went straight back home. So I was like, if I didn't have the chance to learn this, then what about, you know, people back home? How would they be able to gain the out of classroom experiences so that they don't, you know, find themselves wanting like me? Because at the end of the day, the essence of us being here is for us to take the steps so that those behind us would be able to find the right path to walking. And that was what birthed EIM Learning and Development Consult, which what we do is that we give students out of classroom experiences. So whatever experience, depending on the field that you are in, that we think that would help you shape you to become a better intern or employee in future, we try to give you that, you know, jump up or step ahead. And we in Ghana, I started in Ghana, but then currently this year we are trying to also launch it in Budapest. What we do is that in Ghana, we match these interns after they are done with their trainings with companies and help them to be able to practice what they've learned or the experiences that they shared. And one of the things that I would say has helped me greatly in my career is mentorship and coaching, which sometimes people did not, you know, take seriously or think that it's of great importance. But for me, I would say every step in my career from Exxon to CT, like Jonah said, you should have a plan. And I've always known that I want to work in finance. And so with every company that I go to, I try to identify someone, and that would be my mentor in the organization, someone that has been there for a while. And I try to understand what they've been through, how I can either walk in their shoes or be better in terms of what I want to do. And that was what helped me to transition to CT. And so I had a conversation with my mentor. He's British. And we spoke about finance and all that. And he asked me, do you want to build a career in finance, or you just want to experience finance? Because it's very important. And it's also okay to have worked for 10 years and still not have figured out what you want to do. It happens to the best of us. There are people in finance that still feel that finance is not for them. There are people in science that still feel like science is not for them. They probably want to be teachers. They want to be professors. It's okay. These are things that birth you know, new things within you. And he was like, I think that if you really want to do finance, then you need to have experience in a financial institution. And what he did was that he started matching me to other mentors in the UK. So he matched me to a lady that was a CEO of a whole pharma company. And we would have sessions every month just to help me understand where I want to go. And that was what launched me into CT. The moment I got into CT, 6 months after understanding the job, I tried to find a mentor for a company. And that was also what launched me into my new role as AVP. So I think that mentorship is good. Never think that you know enough or you've learned enough. Everywhere you go, you need to, I would say, humble yourself. Find the people that have already been able to hack the key. Because I believe that in every environment, in every corporate world, there's someone that already has been able to hack, you know, the key to rising. And you find them, and then you humble yourself enough to learn from them. People love to talk about themselves. People love to tell you about their journey. People love to tell you. So when you humble yourself to want to know, want to learn, want to ask, it will surprise you how much they can pour into you. And Jonah mentioned connection. They would willingly connect you to their own network, and this can, also help you. And this has been like, I wouldn't say a smooth transition. Taiwo knows I have also been in a situation where I've lost my job before. So I've been through the highs, I've been through the lows, but I would say that for me, transitions mostly happen for me through mentorship. And that's one of the things that I would like to highlight. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Paulina. I would also add to that and say you need to learn to adapt to the environment, to adapt to the market. You need to learn to adapt to the demands of the moment. And in my transition, there have been quite a lot, I would say career transition, and then I would say even environmental transition, physical environment. I would say how business is run in Uganda is different from how business is run in Hungary. And now how business is run in Hungary, according to the market of Hungary, is way different from how business is run in the US. So you may have everything as it's written, like let's say supply, how we will all define it is, the ability backed by the willingness to, but then the environment is going to matter. So you need to adapt so much. You may find yourself feeling the pressure of communicating in a local language, because probably that is what would give you the niche to win the deal. On the other hand, things like perseverance are very underrated. Yeah, but there is no spirit of perseverance. There is no school that teaches the spirit of perseverance. And perseverance never shows up until hard times show up. So if you've never faced the hard times, you may not understand what perseverance means. In this case, the hard times are you're running an 8 to 5 job, but then you're starting a startup. These two things are going to compete for time. They're going to compete for your brains. They're going to compete for the same human being. And you're going to be so overworked. You may end up being unproductive on your 8 to 5, or you may end up, losing your dream of the startup. So what would I encourage someone to do is plan your time and stick to the plan. This is when you now start knowing that actually I need to sleep only 7 hours a day or 6 hours a day, make it 5, and know that this is the time I go to bed, this is the time I leave bed. From this time is my time for reading, from this time is my time for being social. This is when I entertain, anything out of, my work and out of business. This is time for ministry. And then one important thing for me as a Christian person has been faith and discipline. Yeah, there is no way you would leave that. I know you may not be a Christian, you may be of another faith, but faith and discipline play a big role in the transition, whether it's environment, whether it's going to be career, whether it's going to be with even your emotional life. This is going to be very, very important. So faith and discipline should be paid attention to, because that way you're going to expose yourself to, again, spaces where people that are going to help you with your, faith or your faith walk. And now that is also going to count as much as the people that are helping you with your career, are going to be helpful. So yeah, I believe when you plan your time, you adapt to the market or the environment, continue learning, persevere, it's going to pay up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if I would add one last thing, I think one of the things that also helps greatly is putting yourself to learn new things, like understanding what you need and positioning yourself to learn new things, like doing whatever it takes to learn those things. So if you are probably, in a job where there are new roles but require certain IT skills, there are a lot of IT courses online. I believe that I wouldn't say everybody, but I feel like sometimes as people, we make a lot of excuses. And there is this thing of I am trying to find the right word for it, but there's entitlement. Yes, we feel like maybe because I've been in the company for 5 years and have been here for long, I am entitled to this promotion. But if someone comes in and they have all the skills that the company needs, they will choose that person over you. And so trying to learn new things, understanding where you're trying to go needs, and, you know, putting yourself in that position where nobody can deny you of what is needed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have a question in the chat. Just one question. How do you beat bureaucracy where mentors just keep not having opportunity? I guess that what the person is trying to say is that if your mentor is not able to connect you to new opportunities, how do you beat this?
Okay, so for me, since I was the one that spoke about mentorship, I would take this question. None of my mentors had direct impact in the selection. My mentor currently in my workplace is nowhere close to the department where I'm going to work in. And so what mentors do is that they help you to find the path. What do you want to do? What do you think would be required of you? Okay, so this is a position that is a level higher than where you are. This is what the job requirement is. Do you have the skills? Or probably if my mentor is a VP, so they are privy to sitting in interviews. When you go for the interview, this is probably this and what they will be looking out for. And so whilst you are preparing, make sure that you are prepared. So it's more like pathfinders, you know, they help you know the path in which you are walking in. Nobody is going to, none of them have been in the position where they put in a word for me that this person, you know, she's good. So because, I mean, we are in Europe, we all understand that when it comes to these things, like Jonah said, as a believer, it takes grace and merit for you to be able to land these kind of opportunities. And so when it comes to mentorship, you might find people that are knowledgeable. You need to find mentors depending on what you need. And so are you picking your mentor because he has the knowledge you need to acquire? There are people I have sat in lunch with, not because they could help me get the next role, but they have knowledge in what I am going to do next. And so we sit and like, what do I do? What does this role inquire? Have you worked with this team before? And that's what actually works for me. And so you need to identify your mentor. Are you picking your mentor based on opportunity? Are you picking your mentor based on knowledge? Or you're just picking someone that has, you know, a lot of life experiences? It doesn't have to even relate to career, that you can actually learn from, pick wisdom from. There are people that from afar, you can tell that this person is really good with saving when it comes to their money. It can even be your peers. Your mentor doesn't have to be someone that is, you know, extremely older than you. You realize that my peer has probably gotten their own mortgage. They are doing well in their finances, but we are probably earning close to the same thing. You can speak to them. I think that when it comes to life, every issue that you have or every problem that you might encounter, someone would have probably encountered it. So your goal to be able to navigate or jump that hurdle of probably spending 5 years to solve that puzzle is finding someone who has already solved that puzzle. So it makes it easier for you.
All righty. Thank you so much, Paulina. Newton says, on this, I also believe that you can have more than one mentor. Rightly said, I think so as well. Thank you so much, Jonah and Paulina. Again, you can connect with them on LinkedIn. I'm telling you, they have a wealth of knowledge that few minutes cannot cover. And Paulina's company that helps you to prepare gain out of classroom experience that is relevant to the job market. Jonah has Jonah IT. So if you are into IT or that's something that has piqued your interest recently because of all the technological changes happening in the market, then that's your go-to. Thank you again, Paulina. Thank you, Jonah, for your willingness to share your journey, to share a little bit of your story. We know even if I sit here in the next 5 hours, I will barely scratch the knowledge that you guys have to pour out. But we have to move on, as they say in the show. The show must go on, right? Okay, thank you so much. Next, I would like to introduce my next speaker. We already took questions. My next speaker is Michael Osunsanya. Dr. Michael is a dynamic professional who has transitioned from clinical medicine to the pharmaceutical industry. But how did he do this? He leveraged his medical background and to navigate the complex challenges in drug management. He has several experiences in the medical sector, but currently he is serving as a startup strategy manager at Sanofi. And this plays a critical role in managing the Part 2 submission for clinical studies within the European Union. Without further ado, I will allow him to take the stage. And need I add to it that he's also my husband and he's also part of my team in BYP. I know I have firsthand experience of all the knowledge that he has. I am not in the medical field, but he's somebody who is passionate about seeing people who are in the medical field find alternative careers. He has friends that are practicing medicine, of course, not that we do need our doctors, but it doesn't always have to be the only choice. Michael, thank you so much, and please take the stage.
Thank you, Taiwo, for the introduction. All of a sudden, I feel like I'm just getting to know myself again. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Michael. I am a licensed physician, studied in Hungary, in the University of Debrecen, and graduated a couple of years ago. And I did not spend one day practicing medicine, which if you're African like me, you know that your parents will give you a hard time. But today I want to talk about alternative career paths especially for medical graduates that are looking for an alternative. So I can go to the next slide. All right, so what I'll talk about is how you can make a career shift. You're studying medicine or you're practicing medicine and you're thinking about making a shift in your career. Maybe you want to do something a bit different different than what you're doing right now, wearing a lab coat and holding a stethoscope. You want to try something different and apply yourself and still feel like or know that you're providing value to the lives of patients. And that's what I'll talk about today. I'll also touch on the benefits and the opportunities that are available to recent medical graduates. I was also a recent medical graduate when I joined the industry, and now I have been in here for about 4 years. So I can speak on being a recent medical graduate and also if you've been in the industry and are trying to navigate as well. And then I'll give you some actionable steps. Okay, so the question you're probably going to ask yourself now is, where do I fit? I am a doctor, I am a dentist, I am a pharmacist, I am a physiotherapist, or I'm a graduate from any of the life sciences. And you're probably asking yourself, how do I fit into the pharma industry? There are so many different areas, so many different paths that you can take in the pharma industry. In fact, I always tell people, I tell my doctor friends or any doctor that I meet, I always tell them that the pharmaceutical industry is just as vast as clinical medicine is. So we have so many different kinds of clinics and so many different kinds of doctors that specialize in different things. And in the same way, the pharma industry has many different things that you can actually apply yourself in. So one of the most popular ones is probably clinical research. You could either be a clinical research associate or you could be a clinical research scientist. Some of the things that clinical research associates and scientists do is to establish sites where studies are conducted or closed sites where studies are being conducted as well. We also have medical affairs. Roles in medical affairs sound like medical science liaison or a medical advisor. These are the people that you see going into hospitals and hustling doctors, showing them the new drugs that have been put on the market, and trying to get them to prescribe these medications as well. And then we also have medical communication. Medical communication is, I think, it's self-explanatory. You need people that are able to communicate complex medical and clinical data in a very simple way to everyone else. And then we also have regulatory affairs. I like to call these people the guys that don't necessarily have a Christmas break, right? And then we have drug safety and pharmacovigilance. This is where I actually started my own career. I started off in a CRO, and I was working as a medical reviewer, and I worked on the COVID vaccine. So we're taking cases of patients that used the COVID vaccine and had reported adverse events, and we had to figure out if there was a correlation between the symptoms that they faced after taking the vaccine and the list of possible side effects that the vaccine can cause. So this requires a lot of clinical knowledge, of course, and your ability to understand how medicines work and how diseases also work as well. And then finally, there's a commercial side of the industry, and this is where we have marketing and sales. So as you can see, not just medics can make a transition into the pharma industry. If you're in sales, if you're in marketing, if you're in IT, if you're in finance or in HR, you can always make a shift into the pharma industry as well. Thank you. Okay, now you're probably wondering, what skills do I need? First of all, if you already have your clinical knowledge, your ability to process, to interpret, to communicate clinical data, that's your first step into the industry. And then outside of that, you need what I like to call soft skills: leadership, organization, communication, your ability to plan your time, to manage your time, and manage people as well. I would say that this is probably your most important set of skills that you can have, not just in the pharma industry, but I believe in any industry that you find yourself. Your ability to talk to people, to communicate your needs or your wants, and also to comprehend the information that people are trying to pass on to you would actually make it easier for you to network and also find your mentors and the like, right? And finally, another important skill that I would like to highlight is a patient-centered mindset. There is a very popular belief out there that if you work in pharma, then you're going to make a lot of money. Yes, you're actually going to make a lot of money if you can plan your career properly. But beyond that, what we are actually doing in this industry is to better the lives of patients. And even in cases or in situations where we haven't found a cure for them, we're able to make the quality of life even better for patients that are struggling with different kinds of illnesses. So that's the final skill I would like to highlight. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, now you're probably wondering, okay, so what's in it for me? Why should I've heard what you've said. Okay, I have some of these skills, I know I can see that the different parts of the industry, I've seen all different parts of the industry that exist. So why should I even think about making this jump? Now, firstly, work-life balance. Throughout my time in medical school, I never had a Christmas, and my birthday is very close to Christmas. It's in December, right? So I never, for 8 years straight, I could not celebrate my birthday for longer than a few hours every year because I had to go back to study. And then on Christmas Day as well, I would wake up in the morning, probably just quickly make a meal. If I'm lucky, some variation of rice and chicken. And as soon as we're done cooking and eating, we'll go back again to the library or back to our desks and we are studying again because the December and January for us in my university was always an examination time. So we're always studying. But when you come into the pharma industry, and you compare your time, the way your life is planned out as a clinical practitioner, you work in shifts and you probably would work a lot of weekends, right? But when you come into this industry, you have a perfect work-life balance. You work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and you have your Saturdays and Sundays to do whatever you want. Spend time with family, go hiking, go fishing, whatever it is that you want to do. And I think this was the most attractive thing for me in this line of work. The second thing is that no matter what you do, you get to actually cause a global impact in the lives of patients. So global health impact. You might be doing something very little in a small cubicle in your office or at your workstation at home, but then you are impacting the lives of patients on a global level. And I think that is a very fulfilling thing about this line of work as well. And thirdly is professional growth. You get to actually grow yourself as a professional. You come from clinical medicine, you apply your clinical training in a corporate setting, you have a good work-life balance, you get to impact the health of the entire globe and still be able to grow yourself as a professional. And the next slide. All right, now if you actually do want to make the jump and you're saying to yourself right now, sign me up. A couple of things that you have to bear in mind. Firstly is networking. I cannot overemphasize this. I am where I am today because I am not afraid of sending messages or sending emails to recruiters or people that work in companies or in roles that I am aspiring to. Networking is very important. Take LinkedIn as your new Instagram. I remember when I graduated university, I shifted from Instagram and Twitter to LinkedIn and job sites. So I was just always there, cold emailing, cold messaging recruiters, asking questions, sending out my CV to anyone that was willing to take a look or refer me for a job. And that is going to be your most important skill right now. Secondly, will be certification. So you're probably thinking, okay, I went to university, I studied medicine, or I studied dentistry, or I studied some other life science course, or any other course, and you're wondering if you even have the skills that are needed. Firstly, the skills you already have are good. However, for certain parts of the pharma industry, you might need to actually get yourself some certification. A good example of this would be, oh, of course, yes, you should sign up on Javelin, of course. LinkedIn and Javelin should be your Instagram and Twitter. So an example of a certification that you can actually do, I'll give you a practical example. Let's say you're a medical doctor, you have some experience in internal medicine or oncology, right? And you've been there for a couple of years and you want to make a transition. One sure way you can transition is to get a certification in GCP, good clinical practice. That opens up a door for you to be able to be a principal investigator in clinical studies anywhere in the world. So you take these certifications and you have yourself registered, let's say in the EU or in the US. These are two different markets, for example. And then you can work in a hospital as a principal investigator or a sub-investigator, where you get subjects that come to you on a weekly basis or a daily basis or on a monthly basis. You administer these medicinal products and you keep track of their symptoms. So you get to actually take care of patients, but then you do it in a more predictable environment with a much better work-life balance. This is just an example of the way that you can transition as a doctor. The third thing that you would want to do is revise your CV. Your CV should highlight transferable skills. Some very important transferable skills: organization, communication, right? Project management, your ability to manage small projects over a period of time. If you have research experience as well, for some of us in life sciences, we actually get to work in labs for a couple of years while we're studying. That research experience can give you an edge in the industry for sure. Then if you have patient care experience, so you've been a doctor, you've been working, you've been attending to patients for a couple of years in any, I would say the most popular ones are probably internal medicine, cardiovascular, so cardio, nephro, onco, and metabolic diseases. You've been working and you've been taking care of patients for years. That is another skill that is transferable in the pharma industry from clinical medicine. And then finally, medical writing. In the pharma industry, we do not have a choice. We are being governed by bodies in the EU, like EMA, or in the US, like the FDA. We have to write, we are accountable to these authorities for every medicinal product that we develop and every study that we conduct. We have to write these reports, aggregate reports. Some are yearly, some are every 3 years, some are every 5 years. And these reports are supposed to detail everything that's going on in our studies. And this is a way to protect the companies, but also to protect the subjects in these studies as well. So if you have any skill in writing medical documents, or clinical documents, then that's a skill that's also transferable into from clinical medicine or any other industry you're in to the pharma industry. And last but not least, if you're a fresh graduate, you have to open up your mind to taking up entry-level roles and then working your way up from there. And then these are the, so I put this slide together just to give you examples of the different kinds of companies that exist in the industry, right? So we have CROs and CMOs. CROs are contract research organizations, and these organizations, they do not produce any medicinal products or medical devices. What they do is they take contracts from big or medium-sized pharma companies, and then they take these projects on and work on behalf of the pharma companies, right? A good example of companies like this in Budapest would be Tata Consultancy Services, Cognizant, Icon, Parexel. These are examples of CROs. And then we have CMOs. CMOs are contract manufacturing organizations. These companies all they do is manufacture medicinal products on behalf of the big pharma company. So if a pharma company wants to upscale the manufacturing of one of its medicinal products, they would approach a CMO for that. And there's so many of them all over the world. And secondly, of course, pharmaceutical companies. These are your original pharmaceutical companies that produce medicinal products that we actually buy in pharmacies, right? And they come in different sizes, small, medium, and large, like your t-shirts. Now, thirdly, is a medical device companies. These companies use technology to, to make devices that allow us to use medicinal products differently. A good example is an EpiPen, right? These companies make things like this. They focus on technologies to make devices that you can use for medicines. And then we have biotech companies. These are also tech-driven companies as well. So if you're in tech and you're thinking about the pharma industry, biotech companies are the way to go, right? And then finally, regulatory bodies like the FDA and EMA, European Medicine Agency. What these people do is to make sure that the companies are held accountable and patients are protected, as well as the companies as well. They basically they are like the class captain, the class monitor of pharmaceutical companies. We can't let everyone do whatever it is that they want, because lives are, involved. And so we have regulatory bodies to ensure that laws are not broken and everything is done by the books. And these are just a few examples of the kinds of companies that exist in pharma. Is this my last slide? Perfect. Yes. Thank you very much.
Now we've heard from finance, IT, medical field, and then you are wondering like me, okay, I have gotten all these wonderful skills. I've got a mentor, but there is this gate that I need to pass. It's called recruiters and HR. They are the ones that will actually match you to the opportunity. And my next speaker is a recruiter. She's recruiting for mostly executives, so she can tell you, although she is more, she's more on the higher upper management. She can also give very insightful information to those who are like just coming into the industry or into the, again, I just want to highlight that if you are interested in, pharma, you are of life science, and you want to be able to switch around, please, you can reach out to Michael. He's on LinkedIn, and you can find him on LinkedIn as well. And you can ask him any of the board for now. So I'm going to briefly introduce Rita to you. Rita is a global executive talent sourcing expert, and with years of experience helping organizations find and secure exceptional talent like you globally. Currently, she is serving as a global executive talent resource partner in Sanofi, and she has a master's degree in regional and environmental economic studies. This is to tell you that she's a perfect example of someone who understands transitioning, because, she is moving from discipline to the market, and she has navigated different complexity in the job market. She sees every day what the market requirement is, and of course, because of advantage, she's able to tell us exactly what is in demand, especially for Hungary, what is in demand in the market. She can tell you how to put together your CV and how to ace your interview. Rita, thank you so much. If you would take the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Tito. So my name is Rita. I'm originally from Kenya. So I came to Hungary over 3 years ago. So I came as a student. So I came through the Stipendium Hungaricum. I started doing my master's, and I remember in my first semester, I really wanted a way to, earn more income. So I started looking for a job, and it started as an internship. So I started at Sanofi. I applied to Sanofi as a trainee in recruitment, still in executive recruitment, and I got in. So I graduated, I got a permanent role with them, and it's been 3 years since I started looking into, people's CVs, talking to people. Generally, my work involves looking globally at Sanofi and bringing in executives from all Sanofi functions. So whether it's finance, it's procurement, it's medical, it's clinical, it's IT, if you're looking at manufacturing and supply, so around everywhere. So in Asia, in the US, the whole of Europe. So yeah. So, and also planning pipelines. So planning future pipelines for Sanofi executives. So if you have someone that is getting a promotion in, let's say, even a year, you always have a backup, especially for executive roles like a VP, because those ones are considered as, like key driving, roles. So you wouldn't ever want anyone not to be there, because that actually affects the company's image and also, the functions of that whole function that that person is managing. So that's just a little bit about me. So let's jump into my slides. So I'm going to be talking to you about 3 things. And as the speakers have been speaking, actually, they've covered most of the plan your career. So I'm going to talk about plan your career, the job application process, and the interview. So we can move on to the next. So I put on a bit of quotes just, to give some insights to what I'm talking about. So these are actually facts from the market out there. So ever feel like your career is stuck in neutral? You're not alone. So 80% of professionals say they feel unfulfilled in their current roles because they did not plan ahead. So how do you actually get unstuck from this? So the first step is actually reflecting on your interest and the values. So what is your role? What is the next role for you? So you want to know what you want to do next. And then within your current role, what are those things that come naturally? And this doesn't mean just like your hard skills. This means even your soft skills. So it can be things like influencing people. That one you can definitely add it, because trust me, it goes a long way in the role that you play. So the other thing is, what are the tasks that energize you in the role that you're in right now, or even outside your work? And then what is the work environment that aligns with your values? So is it when you work in collaboration with people? Is it when you're being innovative? Or is it the social impact? So from there, you research on the roles, the industries, and the future trends of what you're looking to dive into. So you can be someone that is starting. It doesn't mean that you have to have a role currently. You can be a student. You can never have done anything, but I want you to think in that direction. So dive into the industries, in the roles that align with your interests and skills. And this is where Michael said, actually use LinkedIn like the way you use TikTok and Instagram. So when you go to the LinkedIn bar, you can search, you can actually plan your career through other people's LinkedIn. So just search, this is the role I'm at right now, or even you're just training, I'm a trainee for this, or I'm going to be an intern for this, and you want to be a VP for this. So put that role and VP, and then search, and then put people, and then put maybe companies that you actually admire working at, and then put that, and maybe like locations where you'd like, to work in. And then it's going to bring you a full list of people that you can actually look into their LinkedIn and see what actually they have written. So that means in terms of like, what are the responsibilities they have right now? How did they grow their career? Because when you look from the where someone started, you can easily tell, okay, they added this certification maybe in 2006. Okay, so they were in this role. So they added this certification, what happened? And then they got to this role. So just like you can analyze people's LinkedIn as if you're looking at someone's CV and actually create your own career through that. And then after that, you're supposed to set, say SMART goals. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. I don't want to tell you go back to school. Maybe you started a career and you're like, oh my God, I don't think this is what I wanted really to do in the first place. Do I have to go back, do a bachelor's degree for 4 years? Maybe not really. So set something that is gonna give you like a quick gain, especially like right now you have certifications that in 6 months and they actually boost you so much. So it doesn't matter. Like I look at people's CVs and I'm talking in terms of like VPs. You find people that are actually doing, like very commercial roles. Let's say they're a VP of getting paid really high money. And then you look at what actually they have a bachelor's in English literature. So like you would think this person would have gone to be like maybe a teacher or a professor, but they actually, transitioned to marketing, commercial sales, because maybe they found out that actually I am really good at selling things. I am really good at marketing. And, you grow your career in that side. And then after that, you build your skills through certifications, through your soft skills, and through networking. So networking, I'm going to repeat networking a lot. And this comes even from LinkedIn. Never be shy about actually, like sending someone a message. Like when you actually connect with someone, LinkedIn gives you that thing of like, if you want to send them like a message, you can easily just send like a small introduction about yourself. You might actually be surprised, like there are so many people that will actually reply. And also now that we have Javelin, so we can also add it, in terms of like in the same function as, LinkedIn works. And then on to the next. Now, this is all about, job application. So another, cute fact, did you know that 58% of job applicants don't tailor their resumes to the job description? If you want to land the interview, your resume needs to speak to the employer's language. So every time, when you come across a job, don't send the same CV that you send for the other job, because maybe you're still applying in the same field as you're in. Always read the job description make sure you understand it, and then tailor your responsibilities to that, always. And then the key thing is, because, like most CVs go through the ATS system, and that's why maybe you just get like an automatic, reply for rejection. So make sure that even if it means just copy and pasting the skills that they want to use skills, always make sure you do that. And this one is what bumps your CV to pass the ATS, and it actually gets to a recruiter to actually look at it, because then you have, like bigger chances of actually them calling you back. So when we look at the ATS system, there are things that you need to master. The way you're supposed to structure your CV. You can put your picture, but in some cases, I honestly don't advise the picture. It doesn't match. Sometimes it may, but in most cases, not really. Just sell your skills. So always, I don't know whether you can see the CV. I know it's a bit blurred, but anyway, I'm going to explain it. It's not really, I'm just showing that you're supposed to highlight. So your work experience, put it, like in bold, let it be highlighted so that the ATS system can actually see, oh, this is where the work experience is. And then it goes through it. Education, skills, certification, like that. And then always with the font, don't overcomplicate it. Use classic, use Calibri, Arial, or Times New Roman, because the ATS system is not, set to read like those, very fancy, like fonts that are usually on, Word. So even if you do your your CV on Canva, just come and check if the, the font actually fits into something classic. And then just make it 1 to 2 pages long. When I mean the second page, maybe let's say you've been working for, let's say, over 7 years. So or you've had like a couple of roles that have had like a lot of responsibilities. Okay, you can go to, 1 or 2 pages, but if you can leave it at 1 page, 2 page maximum. And then always your CV is supposed to reflect who you are. So never feel shy about boasting about your achievements, and especially the ones that are quantified. Recruiters love to see numbers because the numbers translate to, actually, the role we have has this number of people. So maybe this person has done this. This person has actually managed 2 people. So, they have leadership skills. So when someone is looking at a CV of like, I have leadership skills, and someone that has actually, named and numbered and said that I have actually managed 2 people, then you're like, this is very quantifiable. So always brag. And I know this might sound, it's not even biased, but it's very true. I've seen this with ladies. Women, they downplay themselves a lot when it comes to their CVs. Men don't actually. Men are very boastful when it comes to their CV. They'll say it as it is. This is what I do. This is the number of people that I've had. Da, da, da. They don't leave anything out. But women, they'll try and make it, they shy away from, presenting their achievements. And that's what someone wants to see. And then when it comes to the cover letter, always address it to the hiring manager. You don't know their name, you don't need to just say, dear hiring manager, because this is actually read by the hiring manager. So the recruiter has nothing to do with your cover letter at all. And then what do you say? So briefly, explain your interest to the role and the company. So I am interested in this role. I am interested in this company because of this and this and this. Mostly focus on the company's mission. Maybe you've heard about their culture. It's very, they are very people-oriented. And then if not that, then focus on the industry. So if you're applying in pharma, then say you want to work in pharma because you know the benefits that pharmaceutical companies play in today's world. And then always highlight, like leadership. If you've had leadership, always say it. And of course, the end of it all, still include your achievements, your skills, your challenges, the challenges that you've actually faced, in the roles that you've been in, and the achievements that came from that. And of course, always keep it at 1 page, 2 pages if you have a lot to say. But 1 page max. I always recommend just 1 page, And then again, networking. So after you've applied, you've sent your CV, go into the company, go to LinkedIn, check recruiters that work in this company, send them a connection. Because most times, so let's say, like you have, the CVs do go through, someone reads through your CV and maybe they want to, familiarize themselves with you. They go look at your LinkedIn. Maybe you follow the company, they're like, okay, this will be someone that we can actually attract. This is someone that we can actually, it's not a waste of time because they actually even follow the content. And then now, let's say you actually follow them. They're like, oh, this is a plus because they feel that personal connection. So clearly, like networking is something else. And also you can always reach out to people that are doing similar roles that you've applied for in that company. And you can always reach out to them, whether they reply, okay, if they don't, you have nothing to lose. So just push yourself, just go that extra mile. And then lastly, it's how to ace your interview. So did you know that 60% of hiring managers, they make their decision within the first 3 minutes of an interview? Your first impression really does matter. So this is after, of course, the hiring manager you meet the hiring manager after the recruiter. So the recruiter has actually already sold you to the hiring manager. So what the hiring manager is actually is trying to get, that personal touch with you. So the first thing before you actually, go into an interview, read through the job description and about the company. So these are the facts that you're going to use during your interview. So understand the role, put some specific key tasks and qualifications that are mentioned in the research, in the company website, social media, or the latest news. So maybe you saw that the company had a big development, or even like within this period, most companies have already released their, their annual revenue. So you're like, oh my God, I saw your company did really well, last year. So someone is like, oh, okay, so this is someone that actually follows our company. And when you're talking about your role, your responsibilities in your current role, or selling yourself, or now you're a good fit for the role, note on those specific tasks. You're like, this aligns with this. I've done this in the current role, and I see your position actually requires this. So always tailor whatever you say to the job description. And then, of course, now most interviews are actually, on Zoom. So just dress professionally and pay attention to details. So you can always opt for, a business formal or something neutral, and then check the lighting. So when the camera goes on, don't be in a dark room. Let's see who you are. And then, opt for a simple clutter-free background. We don't want to see a lot of things happening at the back. We just want to concentrate on you. And then, so what are recruiters and hiring managers looking for? So that time when a recruiter is having an interview with you, so they're typically evaluating your skills, your personality, and if your personality actually fits to the culture of the company. So every company has a culture. They hire people because these people seem like they actually behave in this certain way, or maybe they could fit in a company because they're, the way they talk, the way they think. So someone is just trying to analyze that when they're talking to you. So they be, always be clear. Always throw a personal touch. Don't be someone that, okay, you're just there, you answer the questions, I did this and this and this and this and this, and that's it. Smile a bit, give them that personal touch of I'm actually someone that is relatable. You can be an introvert, yes, that's okay. But just try for those 30 minutes, just try. And then in the hiring manager, what are they looking for? So they focus mostly on your technical expertise, problem solving, and how you fit in the team. So there's always that personal, there's always the personal aspect, whether you're talking to the recruiter or you're talking to the hiring manager. And then be prepared to give in-depth answers. So with a recruiter, probably they don't work in, medicine, I wouldn't answer a lot of medical questions, honestly. It's those three things probably the hiring managers asked me to actually check as, skills. And if they meet this, then I can actually talk to them after. So when you are going to talk to the hiring manager, make sure you give in-depth answers on your technical skills, discuss your skills that directly align to the role with the hiring manager. So yeah, and then after the interview is done, follow up. So the recruiter, within 24 hours, just send him, thank you for your time, and for discussing the opportunity with me. So, and also when you're done with the hiring manager, send it, because this actually, you're left in their mind. They're like, okay, she was actually a nice candidate, she even sent me an email after. He did, so you're lingering in their mind even after that day ends, so yeah, it's also an addition to your personal touch. And that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Rita. I already have 2 questions for you in the chat. The first question, I think it's from the same person.
Yeah.
This is CV tailoring before that, something about ghost jobs.
Ghost jobs.
Yeah, how do you beat ghost jobs?
Okay. Just a minute. I'm thinking by ghost jobs, you mean like those jobs you apply and you actually find out they're not there?
I think so.
I think so. So when check most jobs now, every company has a website. If you're applying for a job, the company will always take you to the company website. So if it says this is the company, you can just go and check their website. If it doesn't match, then clearly this is not a job you're supposed to be applying for. And if you find a job on LinkedIn or in another, job board, and you can always just always type that company careers, and that's it. When you look at the careers, you can always search for that job. If it's there, then it's real. And it actually, from the company, you can tell if the position is actually still open or they've already closed the position.
All right. Then
That's clear.
Follow-up question saying, tailoring your CV can be very tiring, of which I agree, especially when you have to tailor it to ghost jobs or that you have net zero chances of a callback. So do you have like a tip that so that way we don't have to always create new CVs every time we want to apply to different jobs?
Yeah. So I would say this will only apply to people that are actually applying to like a specific position. So let's say you're applying for, a team lead in, let's say, in an IT company. So, and also it has to be in the same function. So maybe IT support, maybe in customer something. So if you're applying for that same job, then okay, that one goes. If not, you can, when you're putting your skills, because the place where I insist the most is the skills part. The rest of your job experience and all that, you can leave that. But if possible, just always tailor your skills. Yeah.
And we have another question, the difference between the CV and the resume.
Honestly, I don't think there is honestly like a difference because like once you send someone, I think for me, it's just synonyms on my end. I don't think like a company is gonna say we are requesting for specifically a CV. Even if you send a resume, it's the same thing. It's a synonym.
This has been really eye-opening for me.
I saw a question.
Some of this information as well. There's a question that says, do you prepare for a virtual interview the same way as a physical interview?
Okay, so I'm sure you're referring to like the outfit that you would say, of course, you don't have to have if you don't want to, but literally if it's virtual, then is like look presentable. Whatever is being seen on screen, let it look very presentable. So let's say for girls, just wear something, don't come in a tank top, wear something that covers your arms. I would always say don't come in very, very like bright pink or something just neutral so that the concentration is on you. And also I'm saying this because of biasness, like some people can be biased, not everyone is the same out there. So they can look at the color and be like, that's not, I honestly actually don't like that color, so they'll be thinking about that the whole time. But for men, I would say you can put on a shirt, you can put on a nice sweater, you can put on a nice tailored collar t-shirt if you're applying for jobs here. I know like when it comes to the job, outfit is not usually very restricted, but of course, when someone is talking to you, they want to see that professionalism. Yeah.
Okay, I can take one more question before we close. Do we have any other question? I'm really, really proud of all our speakers. We've been really on time. I could hear some of you at some point rushing through your slides. I'm really, really thankful for respecting the time. So that when next we have our event, you see that we stay right on time. And when we have our physical event as well, we will try to respect your time as well. If we do not have any more questions, I would like to big thank you to everyone who has come. Again, please join our platforms. We cannot exhaust. That is why networking is important. You don't really want to join Javelin, join connect to us on LinkedIn. We have a LinkedIn page. Connect to us on Instagram. While we do not have individual Instagram or Facebook for each chapter, we have an overall page where we post for every chapter, so you can see what's going on, because some of you might not want to stay in Hungary forever. You might want to move to another country. It will be easier to transit when you have somebody you're already networking in the UK, for example, that knows that you're part of the BYP. That automatically opens up a door for you. Also, you get to meet a lot of people who have advanced a lot in their career, who can inspire you, and who can put, again, as we said, mentor you and make a path for you. And if you are still a student and all of these things seems a little bit above your head, trust me, take this note down. Keep the network, because eventually you will need them. You will need it. And I just want to say, look out for all the events that we're going to have in future. We would love to do more in Budapest, and we cannot do it without you. Thank you so much, Esther. Thank you, everyone. Wishing you a beautiful Friday night. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and hope to catch you in our next event, physical or online. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, everyone.